Alright, welcome back to TEW 2020, the brand split from day one. It's still not called that. It's got a nice ring to it, but it's way too long. It's called the new era. Welcome back to the new era. Brand split from day one does have a nice ring to it, though. We're here for SmackDown Live. It is week 2 of, I guess it's week 3 of the build to the Great American Bash. We are only 2 weeks away if you don't include this. So we're 3 shows away. Nice start, 64. But let's go into what we have ready for tonight's show. We will see Baron Corbin versus Kalisto. Kalisto said last week that he's ready to finally end this struggle with Baron Corbin, to finally bury the hatchet. We also have Paige versus Nikki Bella, after she came out and evened the odds against, the heels and the faces after the Alexa Bliss and Nikki Bella tag match against Banks and Bayley. She challenged Nikki Bella for this show, and she's going to get that match. And the final thing we have announced for this show is Brock Lesnar's announcement. Paul Heyman noted last week, I believe, that there would be an announcement held by the two of them to reveal their plans for SmackDown. Well, I guess not on SmackDown, but for Lesnar just going forward, and that those plans will take place on SmackDown. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say, so let's get into the show. So we open this edition of SmackDown Live with Daniel Bryan already in the ring. Well, we still hear, in the middle of his song, but he's already in the ring for the TV viewers. He probably made his entrance for the live crowd, and he says that there was one thing just stuck in his head, stuck in his mind, bugging him for an entire week that happened on last week's SmackDown, and that is the Dudley Boys cheating and winning the SmackDown Tag Team Champions. So he calls the Dudley Boys to come out, and they take their time. They love the belts. They're being absolute dickheads about it as they make their way to the ring, and the second they get into the ring, Daniel Bryan's like, alright, what the heck was that? I gave you guys a chance. I overlooked you guys. I overlooked the Dudley Boys because I felt that we needed some new, younger tag teams, and I gave you two a shot to fight for the tag team titles. I gave you a match against Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura, and this is what you do? You cheat to win? Not on my show. You're not going to get away with that. So next week, we're going to have a triple threat tag team match. And the teams will be Breezango, American Alpha, and the team of Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura. And the winner of that tag team match will take on you two at the Great American Bash. And if you try and get involved, there will be serious repercussions. Is that the word? Whatever. Daniel Bryan laying down the law here against the Dudley Boys. And a few people in my Discord, not a few, just one guy, made a really good point about the way I'm booking Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura, and just kind of they were really over at this point in time, and I'm just putting them in a tag team, and they're kind of in the mid-card right now, and I just wanted to, in case some of you people are feeling like, dude, do you not remember how over Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura were? I do remember that, but you can't really book the way you probably would have in real life in TEW. They need popularity to really get good ratings in this company, and they're at around the 50s, almost at 60s right now, so I can't exactly book them like main event acts just yet, and that's why they're in a tag team. So I know it might be really weird to some people as to the fact that Finn Balor and Shinsuke Nakamura are just randomly in a tag team, but yeah, that's the reason, and eventually I do hope to get them both to main event status. It would be great if they can main event pay-per-views, especially WrestleMania. They're amazing, amazing performers, so I really hope that we'll get there one day, but for now, they're going to have to be in a tag team just to get some popularity. So, sorry about that, I just thought I'd clear that up. And we go into the next segment, which is a match between Zack Ryder and Curtis Axel. It gets a 74 because Zack Ryder was awesome, and they have great chemistry, and he was off his game, and he still got a 70. That's pretty good. The match goes about 6 minutes because Curtis Axel, he's kind of a jobber right now, but he's not bad. All right, he's not a pushover, and he goes about 6 minutes, but ultimately he is one step behind Zack Ryder the entire time. And after the match, Zack Ryder gets handed the championship, and before his music can even play, the music of Rusev, I don't think Lana had her own music, so I guess it would be the music of Rusev, and she comes out on the ramp. She tells Zack Ryder that Rusev's training has been going tremendously well, and he will finish his Russian fight training this Saturday, and next week, she hopes that Ryder will be watching Rusev's match because he will demonstrate what Bulgarian, I said Russian, now he's Bulgarian, what Bulgarian training can do. And he will demonstrate his strength next week on SmackDown. I feel like I just said that twice, but what can you do? I'm not good at promos. And we cut to the backstage where Heath Slater, as Daniel Bryan's going back to his office, he runs into Heath Slater, and Heath Slater's like, Bryan, I tried my hardest to get a Raw contract, but I'm here on SmackDown. The one-man band is here, and I'm ready for a contract. And Daniel Bryan says, okay, I'd love to have you, but, if... I'm just going to cut to the chase. You're getting tryout matches, too. So, your tryout match is going to be next. Alright, bro? I had a feeling you were coming, so I got this all set up for you. You better go in the ring. It's after the commercial. And when we come back from the commercial, who's in the ring? But Kane. Kane is in the ring. Gets an amazing rating for this 3-minute match, and usually Heath Slater matches are 1 minute, but Heath Slater ducks and dodges a few of Kane's moves, really runs around, and he just eventually gets caught in a choke slam. Boom, dead, over. Heath Slater delays this one to 3 minutes, so he's getting better. And following Heath Slater's tryout match, we get a confrontation between Alexa Bliss and Bayley. This happens backstage in the women's locker room. No, they're not changing, you perverts. Bliss walks up to Bayley, who's in the locker room first. She opens the door. Bayley's right there, and she's just like, Bayley, stay the... I can't say that word on WWE. Bayley, stay the hell out of my business. This is, of course, referring to when Banks and Bayley ran in after Bliss and Nikki Bella's post-match beatdown on Paige that one week. They ran in and led to another tag match, and yeah. So basically in that beatdown, like, Bayley went after Alexa Bliss as Nikki Bella went after, or I guess Sasha Banks went after Nikki Bella. So Alexa Bliss is pissed at Bayley specifically, and Bayley doesn't care. She's like, dude, you need a hug. Don't go walking around like you're the top dog in the women's division. You haven't even won your matches yet. You're what, like 50? You're 1-1. You lost to Becky at SummerSlam. Slow down. Alexa Bliss then just furiously says, you could have put Hulk Hogan against Becky Lynch, and Becky Lynch was winning that match. Nobody was stopping her that night. So if you really think I'm just a pushover, Bayley, I've got a match against Natalya next week. I suggest you watch it. Storms out of the locker room. Bayley just not having it. Doesn't feel scared of Alexa Bliss yet. And that might be to her misfortune. And then we just get a 1 minute little announcement by AJ Styles. Says he's not in the building tonight. He's in the local medical facility, tendering after Anderson and Gallows. And next week he will give an update on their, status, how they're feeling, what's going on with them after Dean Ambrose so heinously beat them down. And really, he didn't. It was justified. We then get a squash match. A local talent, this guy, Adam Revolver, gets squashed by Abyss. It's a 36 rated match. That's kind of sad. I was hoping that would get a better match. But Abyss is only about at recognizable right now, so, that's what's just going to happen. And after the match, Abyss doesn't get a chance to breathe as Ty Dillinger... Well, he didn't need to breathe. The match was 1 fucking minute, but whatever. Ty Dillinger rushes to the ring with a baseball bat because Ty is pissed that Abyss decided to make a debut and try to make a fool out of him. So he runs out with a baseball bat, hits him about 3 or 4 times, and Abyss rolls out of the ring. Ty Dillinger thinks he's got the best of Abyss, thinks he's got his revenge, sort of. But Abyss is laughing. Abyss loves the pain. In fact, there was an audible "I love the pain" was heard by Abyss. He says that after he rolls out, and he's just loving the pain. And Ty Dillinger is confused and kind of frustrated, mostly confused at what the hell he's dealing with. What the hell decided to go after him. We then have a short little backstage segment where Becky Lynch is looking around for Charlotte after Charlotte dodged a match with her last week, and she's stopped in her tracks by Dana Brooke, who just politely asks not politely, the opposite of politely, who bitchily asks, "What are you doing?" Becky tells her she's looking for Charlotte so she can, kick her ass, and Dana says, if you want to get Charlotte, then you're going to have to go through me. And Becky accepts her and tells her to meet her in the ring later on in the show. Not right now, because what's next? Well, it's the Baron Corbin-Kalisto match. About to have terrible wrestling. Wow. I thought that, I know Baron Corbin's not the greatest wrestler in the world. I think he's decent. I think this would have been a fine match. A 13-minute match. Baron Corbin tries to cheat multiple times through the match, but each time Kalisto thwarts it. And Kalisto manages to get the good, clean victory over Baron Corbin. And Kalisto finally, I guess in his mind, buries the hatchet, but to another man, no hatchet was buried, because after the match, Apollo Crews comes out, and Kalisto is, confused. He's like, what are you doing out here? Kalisto's probably acting this way because, a few weeks ago, Apollo Crews tried to help Kalisto out because Baron Corbin was also messing with Apollo Crews a little bit, and Kalisto told Apollo that, I don't want your help, dude. And Apollo then lays out Kalisto with a nasty clothesline, picks him up and hits him with the Chariot, which is the spin-out powerbomb. That's Apollo Crews' finisher. I read it on the Fandom Wiki page. So Apollo Crews, if you remember last week, was furious when Kalisto decided that nothing interesting was happening when Apollo Crews was celebrating his win and decided to, challenge Baron Corbin for this match. So Apollo is probably still pissed about getting, the spotlight stolen from him from Kalisto. After the Chariot is hit on Kalisto, Baron Corbin helps himself up with the ropes and the turnbuckle and just starts kind of smirking and laughing at Kalisto after he was hit. Baron Corbin goes to raise Apollo's hand, forming an alliance with him. Apollo then quickly puts him into the Chariot, throws him down, spin-out powerbomb. Apollo Crews isn't really a heel turn, even though he attacked a babyface. This is just more of two guys that are having a little bit of beef go on between them. And Baron Corbin thought he was getting help from Apollo Crews, and he was not. So Apollo Crews just laid him out for good measure, in case Baron Corbin got a little too comfortable around him. Kane then storms into Daniel Bryan's office and does the hand signal around his waist, the discount double check, if you will, and Daniel Bryan realizes Kane wants a WWE Championship match, and it's pretty obvious, so Daniel Bryan does realize that. GM Daniel Bryan tells Kane that, he can't really just show up and get things handed to him like World Championship matches, because this is the land of opportunity, he will give Kane a match next week where the winner of that match will be added to the WWE Championship match at the Great American Bash. Kane grunts, kind of like, alright, that's not what I wanted, but he leaves because it's like, he's got a point. And Kane says absolutely nothing during the segment because he is a fucking demon, so talking should not be, forte, I guess. I don't know. Fuck, what am I saying? He just doesn't talk. God, why do I sound so pretentious about it? We then get the Dana Brooke, Becky Lynch match, and it goes 10 minutes. Becky puts in the disarmor, makes Dana Brooke tap out. Charlotte isn't anywhere during this match. Charlotte doesn't show up. Is that because she's scared of Becky Lynch? Maybe not scared, maybe just doesn't want to deal with Becky Lynch. But maybe she is scared, and because... Oh my god. Well, she didn't fucking injure you, Becky. Get over yourself. God damn. Alright, so after the match, Dana Brooke is still on the ground, coddling her arm thanks to the disarmor. Becky then grabs a microphone and tells the audience that she does not feel good about what she's going to have to do. But since Charlotte denied her a match last week, she has to do this to get her attention. She tells Charlotte that she's going to re-lock in the disarmer on Dana Brooke, and the only way for her to get out of it, and the only way for Dana Brooke to get out of it, is for Charlotte to come out and stop Becky. So she puts her in the disarmer. Charlotte doesn't come out. It takes 3 road agents in the form of Dean Malenko, Jamie Noble, and Mike Rotunda, and 3 development guys, Montez Force, Angelo Dawkins, and Oni Lorcan, dressed up as security guards, to pry Becky Lynch off of Dana Brooke. Charlotte never comes out to help Dana Brooke. Oh, whoops. Luke Gallows isn't meant to be on screen. That's my bad. Ignore Luke Gallows. He was just here because Dean Ambrose is about to reference him. So, it's an interview. Just Dean Ambrose and Renee Young. And Renee asks Dean Ambrose what are his thoughts on Daniel Bryan announcing that there will be a third man added to the WWE Championship match. And Ambrose immediately just says, I don't care. I don't care if Daniel Bryan would have added 6 more superstars to the match. I love to fight. I love defending this championship. So bring one, bring them all. Triple threat, whatever. Fatal 4-way, whatever. I don't care. And that's the interview. It's not that long of an interview. And Luke Gallows apparently is there. But he's not actually. And we get to our main event of the evening. 82 rated match because the women are over after my edits. I gave the women a little bit of a popularity boost because it's kind of weird that the women are so not over, or at least some of them, because let's be real, Paige, Nikki Bella, Charlotte, those women are over. And they both get decently good matches. Ratings, sorry. Nikki Bella is terrible in the ring, but she's got about 77 popularity, so that's good. And the segment gets an 82. Paige defeats Nikki Bella with the Rampage after 15 and a half minutes. And Nikki Bella seems to finally been thwarted, and Paige is celebrating, and Sasha Banks and Bayley come out and try to celebrate with her. They both raise their hands, and Paige snatches the women's title off of Sasha Banks' waist. It's wrapped around the waist. She just grabs it, rips it off, poses with the belt, hands it back to her, and leaves. Paige doesn't want friends, I guess. While she'd love the help when she needs it, she doesn't need it. And she wants championships. So, Paige didn't do well without a script to follow. But that's basically the gist of that segment. And now we go to the main event segment. This is ending the show. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman's announcement is ending the show. Paul Heyman opens with his usual bit where he, my name is Paul Heyman. This is Brock Lesnar. He does that thing, and he kind of stalls a little bit just for a minute or two, just starts hyping up Lesnar. He's the beast, no one can stop him. And once he finally gets to the announcement, Paul Heyman says that Brock Lesnar is fired up for Survivor Series. Survivor Series is only 2 months away. There's a Great American Bash in the way, but Brock Lesnar is looking to the bigger shows. He's not looking at the Great American Bash just yet. And at Survivor Series, Brock Lesnar is going to take on, and before Paul Heyman can finish his announcement, Sami Zayn runs in from the crowd. And Brock Lesnar, or neither Brock Lesnar or Paul Heyman see this because Sami Zayn runs into the ring from behind them, hits Brock Lesnar with a drop kick right to the back, and Paul Heyman retreats. He's out of the ring. Lesnar turns around, swings for the fences, goes for the hardest clothesline he's ever thrown. Sami Zayn ducks it, picks Lesnar up, and hits him with the Blue Thunder Bomb. The crowd absolutely loses their shit when Sami Zayn hits the Blue Thunder Bomb. Brock Lesnar instinctively rolls out of the ring. He doesn't consciously do it. It's an instinct. Brock Lesnar is furious, and he tries to storm back into the ring. Paul Heyman holds him back. Obviously, if Brock Lesnar really tried, he could push Paul Heyman with one finger. But Paul Heyman, he's just trying his best to hold him back. He's like, Brock, not yet. Give me a second. Brock listens to Paul Heyman, stops trying to go into the ring, and with the angriest look you've ever seen on Paul Heyman's face, he turns around and into the microphone he says, Sammy, you just signed your death certificate because you will now go one-on-one with the Beast, Brock Lesnar, at the Great American Bash. And that's how we end this edition of SmackDown Live, with Sami Zayn not just getting F5'd into fucking the ether. Sami Zayn's a fighter, and Sami Zayn isn't ready to be embarrassed just yet. Nice little 83 there. I don't know if you guys could tell, but I actually made a Google Slides presentation with bullet points to help me get through some of the bigger angles on this show. And that's why everything seemed much more cohesive and, put together. But a nice 83 for this episode. I once again need to pull up who is in the Cruiserweight Classic matches. You really think one of these times I'd remember who's in it. But that's the next episode. And fuck, where is it? It's right there. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so I got it here. There's only 2 Cruiserweight Classic matches on this show. So there might be a non-tournament match happening on that episode. But the 2 tournament matches we have are Hangman Adam Page versus El Pentagon, and Evan Bourne versus the Brian Kendrick. The battle of the 2 veterans the battle of 2 former WWE wrestlers, 2 veterans deciding to give it one more shot and giving it their all in the Cruiserweight Classic. And that is all I have for you on this episode of SmackDown Live. I hope to see you either for the Cruiserweight Classic or Monday Night Raw. We are on day 7 of the Cruiserweight Classic, and there's only 10 days. So this is the 4th to last one. So, yeah, that's all I got for you, and I hope to see you for the next episodes.